Hey, everybody, welcome to another edition of The Sweet Spot, the official podcast of the International Association of Pickleball Facilities. And now, breaking news, the International Association of Pickleball and Padel or Padel facilities, depending on where you are in the world. I'm Josh Kearns. That's our big breaking news, is the IAPF now becoming the IAPPF. And joining me to help bring this news to you, Tom Konkowski, COO, co-founder of Conquer Padel, the first premier franchise organization bringing Padel to the United States, or Padel. Tom, our new partner, you are our founding sponsor. You are bringing the game to the U.S., and you have been so generous to partner with us, and we are so thrilled. Welcome. It is great to see you and introduce you to our membership.
Thanks, Josh. Really appreciate being here and being invited into the space here. And the International Association of Pickleball and Padel Facilities now, again, around Conquer. We're just calling it the PPF to be shorter. But it's Padel, it's paddle, we were having a controversy right now as we speak of what to call it in the U.S. Because the outside countries call it paddle. And we're calling it Padel, but then people in the U.S. are going, I don't like Padel because it's different. It sounds European. It sounds different. So consensus is around Conquer. It is Conquer Padel clubs is what we are. So we are sticking with that. But yeah, so glad to be here and so glad to be a part of the association. You guys are doing phenomenal work already. We hope to bring that phenomenal work to the paddle facilities too, and hope that we can do some good work together with that. So,
well, and that is, it's interesting for those who are not familiar with Padel or maybe have seen it once on YouTube. There is so much coming, and it's interesting, Tom. We are really at this amazing point where it is blowing up around the world, and you can feel it. I mean, we're right on the cusp. It's like the .com boom circa 1998, 99, where you see it. If you're an early adopter, you know it's there. That's what prompted you and your team to start Conquer. But I don't think people realize, first of all, how big the game is internationally. And, talk a little bit about that, because everybody thinks, pickleball, fastest growing game in the United States, which it is, but everywhere else in the world, it's paddle or Padel that is on this growth trajectory that really dwarfs pickleball, isn't it?
It is. It's playing in a lot of countries. They think we're going to get Padel in the 2032 Olympics. Might beat pickleball. We don't know. They're in a lot of countries. Spain has the most courts. Argentina, the UK is putting down a lot of courts. As far as number of players in the U.S., we got about 90,000 and only about 600 courts. I played this game back in. I didn't play this game. I played the pickleball game back in 2019. Building one of the first indoor pickleball facilities up in Prescott, Arizona, and raising capital back then when pickleball wasn't cool. So, but seeing the rise of pickleball and what it did, I believe, and why I'm on board with Conquer here, is Padel is at the same inflection point that pickleball was back in 2019, 2020. It's right there. And looking at the market and everything, what has to happen, and what happened with pickleball for sure, was courts got put down. And a lot of indoor facilities got made through franchising. So when I was looking at the opportunity with the ownership group, that the way to do this, to put down courts quickly, is the franchise. So the sport will grow if the courts get put down. And it's one of these things, when you buy a red car, all you see is red cars. And so now being involved in Padel, and now you, who is ever out there, you're going to only hear about Padel now. You'll only see Padel. So say Padel, 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 Padel. It's like, oh my gosh, it's all over the place. So and that's what we really hope to bring. The pickleball and Padel, man, it's just a complementary sports to each other. They're a little bit different, maybe a little bit more active for Padel, but man, I played pickle the other day and just had a blast. So
well, and talk about Conquer a little bit, about who you are and the model you have and what you hope to bring to the country here. Because so far what I've seen is a lot of independent one-off facilities popping up, with the exception of Paddle House out of Brooklyn, where they have two in Brooklyn, and I've gone to Nashville and Denver and talking about other places. But Tell us about Conquer first and foremost and your vision for Padel across the country.
Yeah, so it's really Enrique Gracia started it back about a year ago now. I met him. He was in Phoenix. He just sold his produce company out in Nogales and was looking to do something else. So his something else, his wife played Padel, and she said, "Why not this? Why not up in Phoenix?" And so he's from Mexico. Two of the other partners who own clubs down in Mexico. They have about 50 courts, 6 clubs down in Mexico. But I come on board by Enrique went to my club. He wanted to have a pickleball lesson because there was no Padel in the Valley of the Sun here in Phoenix, Arizona. So there was no courts. There's one court in the guy's backyard, but he was traveling around. He wanted to get the social aspect of what pickleball was, which is great. And so anyway, he shows up and he starts telling me about this Padel thing he wants to do. And I've been looking at Padel with my pickleball buddies for a while. Just trying to get some traction with that. But from that point, we kind of started dating a little bit. And when I saw what was available and who the players were, we have a phenomenal team. But really putting together this first club in Tempe, Arizona, which should open up in the next month or so, of really being structured as a franchise club. So not owning a club like Paddle House or Reserve or anything like that that says, well, we got clubs now, let's franchise. This was more of a, hey, let's franchise and start with this first club, really building it to be duplicatable as a franchise. So it's really, it's coming out well. It's always slow. We were supposed to be open, July 1st, and now it looks like August 1st, which is great. But we rolled out the franchise opportunity about 3 months ago. We have 4 units being sold up in the Northeast, and just ready to explode across the country. And again, you will start hearing, because you're seeing it today, Padel.
Tom, when it comes to the synergy between pickleball and Padel, now obviously we have vast majority of our members will be pickleball, but as we grow into Padel, we have a number of facilities already out there that we see in Houston and other places where there are both pickleball and Padel coexisting peacefully. You started Aspire Sport and sold it back a few years ago up in Prescott, north of Phoenix. But talk about that real synergy. Why should, if I'm a pickleball facility owner and I don't care about Padel, I'm focused on pickleball. Why should I, at the very least, as a facility owner, at the baseline, be paying attention to what's going on in Padel? And then why might that be able to be a complementary asset of mine? Why should I embrace Padel, or at least the idea of it, and take a closer look?
Yeah, it's kind of like one of these. There's a movement, right? Padel is a movement. You kind of get on the ship or don't get on the ship, but it'd be nice for you to be on the ship. I have not talked to a Padel owner that thinks pickleball is competition, and we don't want to be competition to pickleball either. I think we all work together, and if there's enough space in a pickleball facility or Padel facility, is to add one or the other. It just makes it a bigger place, a bigger audience that you can gravitate towards. But it's not so, you don't have to do one or the other. And I think for the association to not be two associations, right? A pickleball association and a Padel, so having one that really brings those people together, I think is great. That's a vision that you guys had. I had nothing to do with any of it. You asked me to. I think it's great. I love pickle. Padel is great. But living together in the same sandbox should work well. Again, I don't see a Padel person ever saying I don't like pickle. Now, the pickle people, sometimes they're a little bit more protective. I know some buddies of mine that
Sure.
say never, but now they're saying maybe. They said I'd never play indoors. Now they only would play indoors. So
That's me. That's me.
But yeah, it's a good marriage. I think with Aspire that I didn't sell it. I just let it go back to the original developers. But yeah, it had basketball. We had basketball. We had 15 indoor pickleball courts. We had indoor golf, a restaurant. We put some outdoor courts outside. But Jimmy up there, he's talking about adding a couple Padel courts because his son, who's just out of high school, is saying, "Hey, Dad, we need to add Padel. It's out there, and that's a small market of Prescott." So, but yeah, get on the ship or don't. But we'd like to have you on board. Go.
Yeah. And for me, the way I've always operated is even if I'm not going to do it myself, you better know what's going on around you, what is coming your way. And I, in all of my different ventures over the years, that to me, you see so many companies that fail or don't reach their potential because they are so focused on we have the best solution. It should only be done this way. And you better know what's going on next door. And even the notion of competition, as we see, you're in a market down in the Phoenix area where, sure, 2 years ago, if you opened up a pickleball facility, there's no competition. I've got the whole market. Well, guess what? Now there's 50 of them. It's like having a coffee shop next to Starbucks. You better be able to read the tea leaves, see what's coming. And in that case, talk a little bit, Tom, about from a business perspective, since you have operated different types of businesses, facilities, this notion of multi-sport and diversifying your income, your revenue stream. For an operator, how important is that to bring in these disparate things? You mentioned at Aspire, you had basketball, things like that. We see other facilities, other entertainment, if you will, have different offerings in order to attract a broader revenue base, if you will. That's critical, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, always have a multitude of offerings because something's not right for everybody, right? You can't say, well, you ought to do this because everybody else is like, well, I don't do that, whatever that might be. So yeah, we'll have some ping pong, some cornhole. The typical what an indoor pickleball facility has now. People ask, what is Padel? And I answer that to be, well, it's kind of like pickleball. It's played on the same size court with the fence, not the lines, but with the fence area. And it's fun. People laugh. It's easy to play. It's easy to pick up, hard to master, right? And it's so similar that way. But having diversified revenue streams, being, if you have a bar restaurant, which is entertainment, ours will all be grab and goes with a bar function in there, but. And then you have your lessons, your clinics, your leagues. That's your diversification with the revenue model within the sport itself. It depends on club size. Some clubs are going out there with a large scale footprint, which they can do a lot more. Ours are more club, kind of a more boutique club, where it's a little bit smaller offering, but very cool vibe in there. We'll keep our membership down a little bit, so it becomes a little, we won't be small, but we won't be huge. We're not looking to get, 10,000 members in a club. So more like 500 on a 5-court club. But it's the revenue model is always challenging. I've done the revenue model between pickle for a lot of clubs, and it's the model is it's a little tough. You got to have a lot of courts down because you need a lot of membership with that model of one price, 100% play. Ours is more of a pay to play with a small membership. So that model seems to be a little bit more palatable in Padel world. New York is charging $300 an hour to play for 4 people. And they're getting it. That's not our markets. We want to be we're not going to be the low price people, but we're going to be the well priced people. Because just because you can charge it because there's no competition, it doesn't mean people are willing to pay it. So.
And do you think, here's my theory, my observation. So I had only seen Padel over the last few years on YouTube and Instagram and things. And the game, when you watch it at the highest level, it is so fast and so athletic. And my first thought was, well, that's really cool. I would never be able to play that, so I'm never going to look again. And then I started to see it popping up. And as I mentioned, our daughter lives in Brooklyn. And I literally went by, saw them first at Chelsea Piers. They have them outside, and then they have Paddle House. And I went and took a $50 intro to Padel, and it's going to take me months. Tom, paddle, Padel. We'll get there. But what was interesting first and foremost was the environment, just a little different. Felt familiar like a pickleball facility, but it felt a little different and cool. And the minute I played. It was something I could do. I can hit a ball against, you call them rackets. That one confuses me. If you're going to call it paddle or Padel, then why the heck aren't they just paddles? But that's neither here nor there. But I was surprised at how easy it was, that it wasn't so taxing physically, athletically, skill-wise. There were 3 of us, guy from Canada, my daughter's boyfriend, and me. We had so much fun. We laughed like pickleball. We got to do these things, and suddenly my mind was blown because it was a different experience. Pickleball, for me anyway, I play all the time, gets a little rote. I love it. It's my passion. I play every day, but all of a sudden to do something slightly different, I didn't feel like, oh my God, I'm now going to become a Padel player, but it gave me a feeling of I want to do this too. And what it opened up my mind, and this is, I guess, going back to our members here, was that it opened up possibilities. My wife always says the genius of and versus the tyranny of or. And I saw that from a business standpoint as for facilities. Well, suddenly, your pickleball players, some will be exclusively pickle. Your Padel players, some of them are going to be, the Spanish guy, by the way, Tom, who gave me the clinic, pickleball is a game, Padel is a sport.
Yeah, oh no. No, don't be
But,
saying that. I know.
but so anyway, yes, so I do think if you can, that synergy is great. But I want to talk, from a player standpoint, I do think that it's not going to be an either or. And I would assume that you see that as you start to look and as you've modeled out with the Conquer vision, right?
Yeah, and again, because of the franchise model, it depends on the franchisee. The space locations are a little bit more challenging than pickleball. We need a little bit higher ceilings. The columns are always in the way. 100% of the time they're in the way. I mean, they're in the wrong place. The building's too small. But whatever it is, if we can get a building that would take down maybe one Padel court for two pickleball courts, then you should do it. 1-to-1, that would be too much room because one Padel court with the runout area, because there's an area around the court that is part of the playable area. We need about 4,000 square feet almost for one Padel court with the areas around it. That if you take out one of those and want to put in one pickleball court, that's a little bit not a good trade-off. So you have to be very sensitive from the revenue standpoint, and that's where I fall in. I'm the finance guy. I look at numbers. If you like to play or not, I don't know. Just pay your membership. But no, but no. There's a big talk in the industry though, in the paddle side, especially, and not so much the pickleball side yet, because paddle's just entering into the pickleball market really. Pickleball's here. Pickleball's huge. Padel's coming. I mean, it is on its way, and Conquer's out to open up 50 clubs in 2026 or by the end of 2026. So we have that runway. We have the we're just going to go off of Pickler's role model and Ace Pickleball. They've sold over 700 units in the last 2 years now. But yeah, we're gonna sell a lot. We're gonna get out there and promote and show people how to do it right. We really want the club to be special, just like pickleball. I've been in a lot of indoor clubs. I mean, Pickler does a great job. I mean, Jorge's doing a fantastic job. He doesn't want any part of paddle, which is fine. But a lot of his facilities have low ceilings. I mean, we need 24 feet. I mean, it's really it's hard if it's lower than that. So we know that some facilities won't, but we're also talking to some pickleball guys that want to get a Padel franchise too. So it's not it's an adding another franchise to their current franchise at a different spot. So.
And can you do it? You mentioned franchise, so immediately my thought is a full separate facility, et cetera. But what I think is cool, you and I were talking the other day about, I mean, in essence, you can serve in the role of a consultant and help to put together, there isn't just one model. I mean, I know Jorge, all of them, Dill Dinkers, Ace, Pickleball King, they have sort of a model and you have to adhere to a very specific criteria. But what I love is that you, in this early phase, you can come in and you and I have been talking about, can we do one or two courts in Seattle, for example? And you will do that. You will talk to, well, I would assume you'll talk to just about anybody within reason, that there is flexibility so that there isn't, you have to do it this way or you can't do it, right?
Yeah. Conquer's out to spread the brand. I mean, we are really out to spread the brand and, of course, spread paddle at the same time. But yeah, I mean, we're looking for spots that have a one court location. We are bringing, hopefully by this fall, a true pop-up. I mean, pickleball pop-ups are great. You roll down some pickle roll and put a net up. Padel's a little bit more complex when we have the wall systems and stuff, but we are formulating an actual court that we can pop up in about 4 to 5 hours and then take it down the same day and make it make sense still. But yeah, and that'll be fun. That'll be a tour that we're going to go out on with that to expose the Padel sport itself, and then the Conquer franchise opportunity. But yeah, any place we're going to start working with resorts, with high schools, with anybody that has a flat surface that they want to try a little bit of Padel, we'll put down a court there for them. I mean, we're talking about if they want to keep it, we'll work out a licensing deal with them. I don't think a full franchise makes sense, but we'll get it down there and make it and show how it works and how they can make some money out of it and how many people will enjoy it as part of a golf club having tennis. Tennis is not really it's all about the golf. Well, why not throw down another Padel court and you may attract more membership that way and yeah, so that's the diversification model that I think you're more talking about, Josh, is looking at current facilities that have other things going on that we can help diversify that. And again, having a franchise club in that area, I mean, our goal is to have maybe smaller franchise clubs and then one big club in the area that we can have big tournaments at. So club sizes should be 5 to 7 courts, but maybe we have a club like in Phoenix. We will have one here that has 9 courts.
When you think of, obviously, you mentioned your experience over the years and the numbers. But looking at, we look at, per court revenue. How much can we generate on a pickleball facility over the course of a week to try and determine the P&L and all of that? For Padel, the cost up front of a court is, 40, 50 grand or more. And that first thought is, oh my God, that doesn't. But then I see the prices of people charging in LA, for example, it was maybe 80 an hour, which frankly, or 100 an hour, which for me, I'd pay 25 bucks an hour. I mean, Soul Cycle spin classes in most cities, including Seattle's 25, 30 bucks an hour. Do you, as you look at the numbers, for people who are scared off by that initial upfront fear of just the court cost, do your per court projections look like, oh, you know what? Once I look at the ROI on that investment, do they make sense? Do they suddenly, when I look at that, am I going to say, oh, okay, I see it?
Yeah, because you can charge more, right? Or I mean, number one, pickleball competes with free. We don't have that competition model. Not that, again, we can charge a lot more, but what are people willing to pay long term? People willing to pay anything short term to try something out for a short period of time. But we're really trying to build this community of long term members, over the next 5, 10 years. And you do that by a sustainable cost structure, which I think we have that. We're in a model that, yes, it's going to be more than pickleball, but not that much more. And when you look at people, how much they play, pickleball, I can stand on the court for about 10 hours and play straight.
Yeah,
pickleball, right? Padel, if I played an hour and a half, which I do, I'm done. I am not playing anymore. I am exhausted. So because of that, you can charge a little bit differently. So we have more court time available for players. Again, these facilities that are charging a one price membership, and some Padel's trying that. It's limited still. So we're going to be playing, Josh, up in Boston. I got the courts secured at Boston Padel with Chase up there. And yeah, his model is a flat membership fee for 4 hours a week. And then you can buy more, but it runs about the same as ours, and ours is a little bit different where it's a low membership fee, 30 bucks a month, and then court time, or 95 bucks a month and smaller court time, or an all inclusive. If you want it, we got it.
That makes perfect sense. One of the interesting things too, as I've learned, and I've been trying to read as much as I can, talk to as many people as possible. The notion of who actually will play paddle or Padel, I was under the impression, I mean, clearly there are tons of people like me who have never seen the game, who had never played it or have not played it, but are very curious or interested. Bunch of people who don't even know it exists. And then there's those that have been exposed to it elsewhere around the world. Here in Seattle, the reason that I was first introduced to it was through a number of friends of mine who are Spaniards, Argentinians, Swedes, who are very much into it. And they know the game, they will flock to it. And so my first thought was, well, gee, Tom, we have to do, you can only do Padel in a place like Seattle where we have a lot of multinationals, LA, places where, we have tech, we have huge tech. So they've come from all over the world. But I have a friend, Courtney, who you actually met. Courtney Jenkins is the owner of Armory Pickleball up in Bellingham, just south of Vancouver, BC. She's been driving an hour, hour and a half north up into the Vancouver area to play. She was introduced to it once, now she's hooked. So I do believe that once we start to introduce people to the game, that more and more people will come. How are we going to introduce the game, though, to people when I set up a Conquer outlet here, an outpost here? I'm going to be sort of like the,
we're gonna put two courts.
I'm going to be the Gold Rush. Oh,
two
courts.
Josh, we're going to put 2 courts down as soon as possible.
Okay, so how in the hell am I going to introduce that to people and get them to come and check it out is my question, Tom.
Our social media is going to do that for us. They have it checked out. Our tour is going to actually have a paddle brand probably and either Red Bull or Celsius on that tour. And I mean, the tour is exciting. I got some NFL players that want to join in. I mean, it's just beginning. There's so much going on, so much coming at us, so many opportunities. I'm not turning down any opportunity at the moment. Every opportunity to spread the name, to spread the sport is a good opportunity. We have a phenomenal location that we have available to us up in Detroit, and people would go, Detroit. So I'm talking to a David Cass down there. He owns what's that paddle place in Columbus? Well, it just escaped me. But anyway, yeah, he says that they drive from Columbus up to Detroit to a paddle club up there just to play. I'm like, okay, so we'll be a little bit closer to that. We won't be in Columbus just yet, but we're looking in Cincinnati and Columbus also. Some of these tertiary markets that really don't have. I mean, Texas and Miami have the most courts, and then that follows up with LA and then New York. Phoenix, Arizona has one. Tucson has more than we have. But yeah, the sport's just getting going. And again, our goal is to get down courts so people get exposed to the game. People fall in love with it, just like pickleball. It's so easy to pick up. Some tennis players just won't do pickleball. They just won't. But we have a couple investors. Because I'm a pickleball guy, so I'm talking about how great pickleball had done it, blah blah blah. And then one guy says, "I hate pickleball." Like, oh crud! Do you like paddle? He says, "Oh, I love paddle." Okay, so some people would say never, but if you introduce them to paddle, which is different than tennis still, and if the facility or a facility close to you has pickleball, and you work together. So we have in Tempe, we have a pickler across the street that has, I think, 12 courts there. And we have a Lifetime right next door that has another 12 courts. They got courts outside and inside. And then Electric Pickle just about a quarter mile away. We need to work together. We don't want to work against each other. I'm not stealing your members, but we want to work together. Like, hey, have you tried pickleball? Those guys down there, you may want to try that. Or bring them in and show them what pickleball is. Again, there's a lot of opportunities to have the two sports work together to grow the movement of getting people off the couch, whatever that might be. Again, Padel might be a little bit more strenuous that way, but you know what, Josh? It ain't that hard. It ain't that hard once you know what you're doing. I just run around too much. Like, where is the ball going? The pros, they don't run around that much. They just know where the ball's going to be, and they just run to that spot. We run back and forward, and so hopefully when we all play on a couple weeks from now in Boston, that I got a coach that's going to help us understand what the rules are. So all of us pickleball players, like, what is this game? So, but I want to do more of those. I want to get courts down, introduce more people to it. If it makes sense to play more, great. If it doesn't, at least y'all know what it is. Because again, you say paddle to somebody or Padel, and they go, what's that? And this happened again back in 2020. It's like pickleball, like, what's that? I mean, at least the name's a little bit different. I don't want to say cooler, but cooler. Because what's pickle? Pickle what? So.
That's funny. Well, and I'll just put in a plug. So for members who don't know, and you should be, well, you're on our site now, or you're on our YouTube channel, Pickleball Facilities. We're going to have to change our URL, Tom. We have gotten a new URL. We're going to change it, but we will be sharing lots of content. Your team, others, we will be aggregating best practices, data. We will be holding events. We do have our regional meetup June 20th, week from Friday in Boston, and we will have an all-day session on the 20th that will include a panel on Padel with you, hosting that with Chris Klein, our global VP I mentioned before. But we'll also be going to Boston or Padel Boston the night before, and then we're going to start doing these elsewhere. We have Chicago coming up in July. We have Fort Lauderdale in August, and then we're going to have our big international conference in Austin in September or October. And I encourage people to start looking. We're going to have an announcement coming out shortly about that. Get your tickets. We're going to have Padel there. So we will have chances to introduce people to that, because that is the biggest challenge. We do not have it. I mean, literally, I have to drive to Vancouver, BC. I've done it in Palm Springs. I've done it in New York. I think Denver is probably, or San Francisco are the closest ones to me. But I tell you what, we have a colleague, Nathan Talbot, who is opening Picklewood, which is, an entertainment concept. But he saw Padel and he said, "Oh my God, I got to do this. Can I put it in the parking lot?" So I hope that we will be able to introduce that more and more. And I encourage people to follow us closely on the website, on social, our newsletter, etc. But I wanted to ask you, Tom. I always have a point. It just takes me a long time to get there, by the way. People who know me know it's very circular, but Josh does get there.
I'm with you.
What advice, besides calling you and emailing you, what advice would you have for somebody who is curious, who wants to know, who wants to start learning about the business, not just watching a YouTube video of a bunch of young guys running around? How do you begin to at least learn about this to explore it from a business perspective, from an entrepreneurial perspective?
Yeah, it's one of those things. Why franchise? That's always a question. I can do it myself, or I can do it this way. Same thing with pickleball. You can open up your own club or join the franchise. Being in business, for yourself, but not by yourself, right? So we have a lot of systems in place and court vendors in place that we would save you that the heartache of making all the mistakes that we haven't really made. I took a lot away from pickleball. They made a lot of mistakes. I know we did it at Aspire, but it's all about location, and we're very particular on where we're putting locations, being the right demographic. So it doesn't fit everywhere, and we don't want to be right next door to somebody else at the moment. I mean, the clubs will expand it, so they're closer, but we take a 10-minute drive time away from another club at least, if not more, almost like a 20-minute drive time. So, but we gather our data from 10 minutes out. But yeah, if someone wanted to do it, yeah, it's about real estate. I tell you, if you find a piece of real estate like Josh has, and he's called me a couple months back is when we first met.
Don't tell him, Tom. This is,
I'm not going to say anything more other than that's how we met. Is we called and said, "I have a location." We get that a lot. I have a location, so I'm and franchising isn't right for everybody. I'm not a good franchisee. I would be a horrible franchisee because I don't like to follow a system. I like to be a lot more broad and open about how I develop something. But for those people, though, yeah, we'd love to come alongside you. We are going to roll out a licensing deal. I think that was going to help a lot more people get more courts down, maybe one or two. I got a guy in Golden, Colorado. He called me, and he wanted to put something there. It's like, the market's just too small for us. But he has a piece of land. He wants to put down a couple courts. I said, okay, let us help you do that. And it just becomes a conquer spot on the map that we're just helping them run it. We're not giving it, there's no royalties and all those things. It's just more of a licensing deal where you use the brand and use some of our support systems and operations methodology to make it happen. Coaches is hard. There's coaches every day being certified. I'm a certified Padel coach, level 2. I don't think I could coach Padel, but I got the certification. I've been a certified pickleball coach for a long time, but Padel, there's a little bit more technique to it, and most of the coaches are out of country. So our first head coach that we brought in, he'll be here in just a few days on June 15th, is from Madrid, Spain. So a younger gentleman, he wants an opportunity here in the U.S., and he'll be the head of all of our coaches. So it's hard. It's hard to get that right coach. Again, coaching doesn't have to be an expert in Padel. You know, you got to be an expert in people. I think we all know that. You know, it's more of a people than all that. You know, you hold your arm up here. You know, you got all this extra stuff with Padel, like just hit the ball at me. You know? So
yeah. Well, and I think, you know, what's interesting that from a revenue standpoint, beyond just simply court rental, the programming opportunities, because pickleball, we can go out, and if you can hit a ball on a paddle, there are a lot of people who are happy just doing that, never want to go further. But there's just enough newness, lack of knowledge, and once you start doing it, you want to get better far more. I think more so than pickleball for a lot of people, where it's very easy just to sort of stay at that lowest recreational level. But I think from a revenue standpoint, like I paid the $50 for my 1 hour intro clinic, and then I want to do the full clinic, and then they have like a series of 6 weeks where not only is it coaching, but it's a league. And because of the rating system with Padel, which is unlike pickleball, from the beginning, they evaluated me and said, can you do this? Do you know this? Do you know what this term means in Spanish? What is it? Bandeja? What is the overhead? You know, all of those things.
Yeah, bandeja, yeah.
But then they said, you are a 1.0, Josh. And now if you do this, and you'll be 1.5. And then they do matching with other players. So that I can sign up I don't need to know other players, because unlike open play and pickleball, I can sign up for my slot, and it's like, okay, we have 3 other slots for a 1.5. I guarantee you, if I lived in Brooklyn, Tom, I would spend about 10 grand a month, because it's so addictive and all that. So I do think from a programming revenue standpoint too, beyond just court rental, that there are tremendous opportunities where maybe even in pickleball, because it's easier, that there are less programming, that those continuums that we see a lot of facilities trying to do to create a flywheel of revenue from programming and from lessons. And
yeah, things. I think there's more opportunities for a club to have lesson revenue versus pickleball. I mean, I give lessons, and usually it's a beginner player. They want to get to a certain point, and then they're happy because you can play, you have fun. In Padel feels a little bit more like golf. I don't know if you play golf or remember when you started. When I started, man, I was at the range. I had blisters on top of blisters, and I just wanted to get better. I wanted to go out there and be able to hit a ball wherever, and score. And Padel's kind of the same way. It takes a little bit more reps to understand that back wall, especially where the ball's coming off of, where to be. So there's a little bit more technique with that, just because there's more time in between the shots, and you're getting moved up and back, and the court's bigger. So, but there's more of a coaching. So when we're modeling this for a club, we think there's more coaching revenue in the first couple 3 years than there will be in maybe years 4 and 5. But revenue modeling a whole bunch up front. Also with the memberships, we think we won't sell as many memberships in the first couple years as we will in years 3 and 4 and 5. So we kind of have a flip for walk-ins. So people want to try it before they join. So we think the revenue will come from more walk-in play from the start. Hopefully that we get enough memberships going in the community. It's really based around the community. I mean, the sport talks about that. Pickleball talks about that. Building a fellowship of other players that just show up and maybe just hang out a little bit more.
So look into your crystal ball. A year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, what do you see based on this is nice, because unlike pickleball, we're not pulling this totally out of thin air. There are models everywhere else in the world that exist for Padel. I mean, I see every day in the UK, new courts every day, and at the municipal level too, not just simply private clubs. In the United States, your bet that you're making, where are we a year from now with Padel? Where are we 3 years from now, and then maybe a little bit longer down the road? What do you think?
So for Conquer, we would again sell 50 units a year, and hopefully open up 40 of those the following year, year over year over year. So, in 5 years, we have 200 or so clubs open. A little bit less than what Jorge's doing over at Pickler, but again, it's the stinking spaces. You just can't find the real estate that you're going to need in the markets that you have to be in. I mean, you have to be in a little. You can't. It's unfortunately, it's not. It's kind of like, I don't want to say golf, but it's kind of like golf. You can't. Not everybody can play because they can't afford it. So, but we do want to get to the schools, just like pickleball is already doing schools and intercollegiate stuff, and those. It's funny, Josh. When I was going around with Enrique to attorneys, all my buddies, I'm introducing the group to everybody. The story was like, okay, I've heard this before. It's the same pickleball story back in 2019. It's great. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. The only real difference was that we have pickleball to model after. Say, well, they did it. Why can't this sport do it too? And I fully believe it's going to be that. I think we'll get down some good pickleball courts or some Padel courts in pickleball centers and expand that way too. We need to get courts down. This movement started also back in, like, I heard it was like 2016 in the U.S. and not enough courts got put down, and everybody went, well, I can't play. I love it, but I can't play. So even here in the Phoenix, we got to get this club open because there's no place to play for me. I got to go to Miami. I just got back from Spain. I'm playing in Spain. I'm playing in other countries and cities just to play because we don't have any courts here in Phoenix. So we're going to solve that for sure. And the same thing up there by you, Josh, is to get some courts up there in Seattle.
We're planting the flag, Tom. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
The good news is, as I told you, I have no money, so it's I don't have to worry about the risk reward. That's your problem.
Well, is that if you build it, it will come. Yes and no. If you build it and expose people to it correctly, it will be fun. Not that they will come too, but it has to be fun, and it will be. It's a fun ride. I sold my investment practice back in 2020, and I was going to do pickleball. So I'm retired. I put a pickleball court in my backyard. I started coaching, playing, and then Padel came along, and I'm busier than I've ever been, but more happier doing what I'm doing than I've ever had in my equity job. So.
Yeah, well, I think, what, a lot of people, for all of us, I mean, I certainly did not need to go into the pickleball space. I had a great career, and I mean, this is a way of life for us, and I see that Padel just complements that and is going to now be a part of my life as well. Will Richards, who's the CEO, co-founder of Dill Dinkers, who is giving Pickler a great run for their money and the others, he had a whole career in government, and he told me the same thing, recently, that I didn't think I wanted another job and another career, and it sort of happened. So I hoped that you are right. Let me just put it that way. I hope that we are right. But in the meantime, we're going to lean in. We're going to do all we can to grow Padel in the United States. You are going to be a huge part of that. We're going to do that collectively. We're going to bring everybody along. We're going to share this with all of our members. And hopefully, our goal, rising tide lifts all boats. That's why we started the IAPF, now the IAPPF. And Tom, you will be in Boston, in Natick at the Courtyard, where we're hosting our event on June 20th, and then we'll be at Padel Boston the night before. Look on our website if you want to come join us. We still have space available. I think it's worth the investment to fly in from anywhere, but that's just me, and I'll be there. So, Tom,
I'll say one thing, Josh.
Yes, please,
please. One thing about Scottsdale. So when I went to the Scottsdale conference, it was amazing to see all my old pickleball buddies for sure, but how everybody was very open and honest with sharing. What the association has is great data that they share, and then everybody talks about it, and so it's a great community that you're all building. And I can see the Padel owners being at the same conferences as the pickle guys, and we all just get along. We have some cool ones later, and we go play some pickle. I know we're going to play some pickle on Friday night. We'll play some Padel on Thursday night, and hopefully I get out to play a little bit more in Boston on Saturday. So
right on. Wait a minute, you didn't invite me to that one.
I haven't set that up yet. So Padel Boston has a tournament, but I might go play Sensa. So
fair enough. All right, well, everybody, Tom Konkowski, COO, co-founder of Conquer Padel. It's conquerpadel.com, right?
Yep.
is the website.
Yep.
Okay, go
and then,
there, check them out.
franchises from there, and our equity offering you can get from there too.
Tom, thank you. In all sincerity, we are so thrilled with this partnership. It came about. This is the pickleball world we're in too.
Yep.
You and I were introduced. We talked. We had lunch, and from there grew the possibilities. And I will just encourage our members to be open to possibilities and not just shut down. Oh, paddle, little bit, because I think there's tremendous opportunity, or there may not be. But come along for the ride with us. It's going to be a fun one. We're going to see you in Boston next week, and thank you.
Thanks, Josh.